United were at Fir Park today, hoping they weren't about to become part two of a Dundee double for Motherwell, who picked up 3 much-needed Premier points in midweek. Team selection wasn't a problem for Eric Black. He went with the same 11 who started Wednesday's 4-2 defeat of Dundee. 3 teenagers in the starting lineup and the outstanding Eric Delamo at the back. Only one change in the Dundee United team. With Jamie Fullerton suspended, David Hanna was brought back into the midfield. Jim Laughlin and Stephen Wright in central defence. Danny Griffin still injured. The referee was Tom Brown. Commentary comes from Ken McRobb.
Away by Reddy. Now Saloy. Good ball to Pearson. Not a lot of support with him. Pearson will be forced to turn this one back to Hammell. He's got a shot on him too, and there it is. Good effort by Stephen Hammell, and well stopped by Gallagher. Hanna closed down by Lastly. Laughlin again. Takes Carson into play. This time Laughlin goes for one over the top. And that's headed back inside, and here's a chance for Hamilton! Side netting. And Jim Hamilton, I think, knows he should have made more of that. But it was a mistake by Greg Strong which allowed Hamilton the opportunity. An opportunity which perhaps the Dundee United striker should have put away. Delamo. Good head flick forward by Lastly. McFadden with a chance! Just wide of target. Well, an excellent move, quickly forward by Motherwell. The good flick on by Hasley. And McFadden certainly has an eye for goal, but he couldn't quite get that one on target. Just seconds remaining of this first half. Oh, that's a mistake. Laughlin recovered, but now McFadden for Motherwell tries the shot, and Gallagher goes down to gather. Well, I think the keeper had that one in his sights all the way. Saloy. Wright's given that one away though to Stephen Pearson. He's got support in the form of McFadden and also Elliott, but his path is blocked, and that's a free kick to Motherwell. Well, a good break there by Motherwell, but in the end, Pearson's path forward was blocked. Elliott set to take the free kick. 4-man wall in front of him. Drives it in low, and a goal! Motherwell have broken the deadlock. The free kick struck by Elliott, and the neatest glance from McFadden to put it out of reach of Paul Gallagher and into the back of the net. Did it come from the training ground? The ball certainly struck into the box, and McFadden making sure that it wasn't a wasted effort. That could make all the difference. Lastly, good play by McFadden. Gets it into the middle. Elliott with a header! And a great save by Paul Gallagher. The cross from McFadden was well measured. Elliott had time to direct his header and did all that was asked of him, but that was a superb save by Gallagher. Corner comes across, here's a chance now, driven across the face of the goal by Carl Reddy, and Dundee United survive. Gallagher, long down the middle, Strong's there, now Miller for United, good ball through, and surely, well, that looked as if that could well have been a penalty. It was Delamo who made contact, it appeared, with Jim McIntyre, but the referee, Tom Brown, wasn't far away, and he just didn't want to know. That's for McFadden. Gets it down for Lastly. Saloy in the overlap on the right-hand side. McFadden's gone wide. Saloy turns it into Lastly. Now out to McFadden. Still James McFadden chips it into the middle. It's headed away. It's a chance for Hammell! He didn't need to be asked twice, did he? That must wrap things up. As the ball came across, Hammell measured it, struck it, first time in the volley. It's now Motherwell 2, Dundee United 0, and it looks like 3 points staying at Fir Park. And the Motherwell fans find something to shout about. Strong wins it in the air. Headed forward well though. Lilly lays it off, looking for Miller, and a free kick awarded for the push by Lastly on Charlie Miller. Dundee United will want to take this one extremely quickly. Well into injury time now, but certainly here's an opportunity for Dundee United. Al-Jofri, well, we saw his firepower in midweek with 2 goals against Forest. The ball comes back out, Al-Jofri strikes it, and that one is well wide. Corner though, it took a deflection. Miller with the corner, over it comes, it's headed away, it's not cleared, and that one was pushed past the post as the drive from Stephen Thompson came in, and that's a good save by Stevie Woods at this stage in the game. He's not been called upon to do a great deal this afternoon, but he handled that well. Over comes the corner, and there goes the whistle, which brings an end to this match at Fir Park. 2 goals in the second half, the first by James McFadden, the second by Stephen Hammell means it's 2 victories in a row for Motherwell, with a scoreline of Motherwell 2, Dundee United 0.
Yes, 2 wins in the trot for Motherwell, and the last time they managed that was September, which tells you something about their problems this season, but just signs, Jim Traynor, that things are beginning to pick up for them, and Eric Black and Terry Butcher are beginning to have their influence.
There are signs now, encouraging signs, and it's only, in fact, last weekend, you know, when they went out the Cup, there were Motherwell fans calling for the heads of both those two, the manager and his assistant, and which I find hilarious, because it was 12 games last Saturday, and they were on the phone end saying, look, let's get rid of them now, they've had long enough. And then it's a 2-side double now, because they beat Dundee and they beat Dundee United now within the space of just less than a week. So there are encouraging signs, and there's some decent young players there as well. So I'm sure that those Motherwell fans who were calling for the heads last week, they'll probably be thinking, well, I mean, they'll have to, maybe if they lose again in the next game, they'll be back on the phone calling for their heads, but there are encouraging signs.
Let's not talk anymore about managerial removals for now, Jim.
Oh, sorry, Jim.
But let's talk about 2 talented teenagers for Motherwell who scored the goals this afternoon. James McFadden, I don't know how much you've seen or know about him. He's 18, and this was a handy little finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think he seems to have got a good reputation for himself. I mean, here it's just a little flick, but he certainly meant it. You know, he's got a lot of awareness, and even in the game, he had 2 or 3 other hits. But I think he held it just as a shot there, and he just side foots it. I mean, he doesn't panic there. And this one from young Hammell is a very good finish. It's a lovely ball in. Again, as the ball gets headed out, it doesn't panic. Just good technique. Lashes in, and that's the way to stick him in the back of the net.
United defenders, though, you can see that they get a bit mixed up and they come together and they do nothing, and it's a poor header out, but it's still a great finish.
Yeah, I think Aberdeen and Dundee United have got similar problems. I think away from home they need a sort of Mary Poppins type figure, a nanny on the pitch to look after some of the young boys, you know.
Are you offering?
Well, I don't know if I'm a Mary Poppins, but I think that they certainly need someone to chaperone them a little bit away from home. I think at home they've got a lot more confidence, but away from home both of them seem to have too many young boys maybe at the one time away from home just to dig in and get results. Yeah,
because Stephen Pearson's another under-20 who was in there as well. Well, Eric Black looked suicidal last weekend on the back of a cup defeat against Dunfermline, but he was a lot happier after the match today.
1-0, it was always going to be hard. It was a difficult game. Dundee United continued to play right to the end, to their credit, but the second goal certainly gave us a wee bit of breathing space and allowed us to then get the ball down and play a wee bit more.
I like a wee bit of a dispute on a Saturday night, and I feel we're going to get some now as we look at what Dundee United reckoned was a Stonewall penalty claim. Jim Traynor, firstly, your view.
I think it was a penalty. You know, Charlie Miller's put the ball through and Dillamore comes across. I think it's Charlie Miller, yeah, he was lucky to get away with that there, but he sticks the ball through. Look, Dillamore, certainly That's a penalty. That's a clear penalty. I don't think
contact, Jim Duffy, isn't there?
No, I must admit, I think he's put his arm out. He already fell down. I don't think it's a penalty. I think the defender puts his arm across him here, you'll see, and he just falls down from
It's definitely a penalty.
So I think we'll agree to disagree with Mr. True.
No, I'm not agreeing at all. It's a penalty.
Bright days ahead for Motherwell, Jim, do you reckon?
Well, I think so. It depends on what you mean by bright days. I mean, I think
it's got to get better than it is at the moment, I suppose.
Well, I mean, they're playing all right just now, and that's the two wins on the trot now. So if they can continue that, then you would say that's bright days. But I think there's hope there. As we said a couple of minutes ago, there are definitely signs. But again, it's so fickle because as we were talking about those Motherwell fans, they're like everybody else. Somebody said they want somebody removed next week. It'll be some other manager. But if you give a manager time, I think the chances are that he'll do it, and I think those two will for Motherwell.
That's Lanarkshire football fans for you.
They're all mad,
including yourself.
Steady.
Another bad day on the pitch for United, and another pretty dramatic week off at the talk of the town for the supporters is how long will Jim McLean be back on the board? The new vice chairman insists it's not for long.
Jim, as far as I'm aware and concerned, and know definitely, is there to facilitate the change, to sell on his shareholding. He doesn't want to be involved deeply in football anymore. His health isn't too good. Again, coming back, the reason for joining the consortium and now on the board was to make these changes, and Jim's absolutely 100% behind that.
Well, that's the official line, but as the sports scene dugout found out, the United fans are still far from happy with what's going on in this latest episode of a sorry saga.
I don't think I agree with Jim McLean coming back. I think it's a bit of an approach by him to get himself back into Tannadice. I just hope that he gets his shares sold as quick as possible. There's lots of rumours going about Tannadice, but he's coming back to kind of cut overheads, so the shares are going to be a bit higher, so when he sells them on he makes a bit more money, but who knows.
I think it's disgraceful what he's done, and he's just going to ruin the club. He should have left years before he did, and he's absolutely ruined it, and the sooner he goes the better. If he stays, I won't be buying another season ticket.
Well, I think that Jim McLean coming back was wrong for the club. They should have just kept the same board because they've been loyal to it, and they should have just stayed, and it'll be a big mistake, especially if he sacks Alex Smith.
There's loads of rumours around Dundee about Richard Gough, Jim Jeffries, everybody, so until they come true. I mean, the rumours is Jim Jeffries will be through if Leslie Deans gets a Jim McLean shares.
Alex Smith's the man for the job, no doubt about it. He's the man to take us forward. He's got the right attitude, get the youth players in, bring them up, maybe sell them on for a lot more money. I think that's the way to go for a small club like us, definitely.
Jim, being in the south, I think you missed the bit where Jim McLean wasn't actually in the Dundee United boardroom, but he has been away for 15 months. But a lot of disgruntled supporters there. You used to be in charge across the road, of course.
Yeah, obviously I know Jim very well. I don't like to hear people saying, things that he's ruined the club. I mean, I don't think Dundee United wouldn't be anywhere near what they are if it wasn't for Jim McLean. I mean, he took them from basically, a very small-time club to challenge the top clubs in Europe. I mean, a phenomenal achievement. Okay, maybe that was a few years ago, and maybe it is time for change. But I still think the guy needs to be treated with respect. It is difficult, I said, nowadays when there's a lot of money involved in football, and you do need enough. Dundee United need capital to try and go forward. But I don't think the problem nowadays in Scottish football, in particular Dundee United, is not keeping on the young players. It's selling the young players. Yeah. The last time that a young player got sold for a lot of money was Rangers, really. Hibs, they bought Kenny Miller from Hibs, and then they sold him on to Wolves for $3 million. But I think there's a lot of good young players, but they need to sell one or two of them, Dundee United, Motherwell, Hearts, etc., to keep the cash flow there so that they can keep a hold of the rest of the young players.
Yeah, still doubts obviously among the supporters, Jim, as to how long Jim McLean will tarry at Dundee United. I mean, I heard Eddie Thompson, the favourite to buy his shares, saying the other day that this process could take 2 or 3 months. Maybe we're talking till the end of the season.
Well, I think that would be ridiculous, and I think then that the SFA, the authorities, would have to look at it and try to analyse Jim McLean's involvement again, because they didn't punish him last time after his altercation with he's assaulting John Barnes, because he left and he said he'd sell his shares. Now, the thing that baffles me, the fans are entitled to have doubts and be cynical about it, but the thing that baffles me is that we keep hearing that he couldn't attend the EGM because he was under doctor's orders to stay away, and now you have the new vice chairman saying that he's too ill, he can't go to the games because he's not well enough. Well, why is he back in? Why did he do this? This is not good for his health. I don't think it's good for Dundee United. I don't think it's good for football. More importantly, if this man is ill, he's no place back in this game, because this game is not for people who are ill.